Okay, piscators, this is where I'm fishing. River Sow, as I said, and as you can see, it's an absolutely gorgeous little river. There's a little bit of water on, but that's good for this time of year. Makes it a bit more fishable. I'm fishing in a swim just right next to this bridge, basically, where the water's being held back from those columns. I'm just flicking the swan shot with bread flake into that slacker water, hoping that holds a few fish. If not, I've seen a couple of swims further down where there's a couple of overhanging trees that look quite chubby, so I shall give those a go later. I've given that swim up there an hour, not had anything, so I've just moved down slightly. It's a bit of a jungle, as you can see. I've had to scramble through all these brambles and nettles just to the water's edge, but I'm now fishing a little bit further down on the edge of a tree. I'll just show you. Hopefully you can see that tree hanging in the water there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick my swan shot bread flake into the middle of the river so that it comes round and hopefully just settles under the edge of that tree, which I think is probably where some of the chub might be lying. So we'll give it a go, see how I get on. Okay, piscators, bit of an update. We've had one. So just as I say, that little tree that was overhanging, I've flicked the bread flake down there, second or third chuck. There we have it. Nice chub. I'd say probably 2.5, maybe 3 pound. I'm going to weigh it anyway, and then I'll take a few shots. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. So there he is. Nice big chub. Look at the size of that mouth. Off the River Sow on a piece of bread flake. Just goes to show, if you put the effort in on these small rivers, you can have the rewards. Just a small tip, guys, when you're fishing small rivers for chub, don't release them in the same swim that you've caught them from. Take them upriver a little bit and just release them there, because there's a chance that you can catch another one from the same spot, but if you put the fish back, the likelihood is it'll spook all the others. So here we go, just releasing him now. So guys, I've safely released that chub further upstream. Refed the swim a little bit with just a few pieces of bread flake, and I've left it for about 20 minutes just to calm down after that fish. I'm going to recast again now, see if we can get another one. If not, then there's another spot further down the river that I like the look of that I'm going to try. But it's worth giving this, say, another half an hour. So I'm just going to rebait to just show you how I attach the bread to the hook. It's a size 6 hook, and all I do is just tear off a piece of bread flake and just put the hook on the bread flake and then squeeze it around the shank, and then you've got a nice fluffy piece of flake to go out there. Here goes. Let's see if we have fish number 2. The thing with chub is that you can pretty much catch them on the crudest of gear. I mean, I'm fishing a size 6 hook, micro barbed. It's a carp hook really what I'm using. I've got £4 main line, and I've got £4 hook length and a £6 main line. I'm just using an 11-foot feeder rod with a 3-ounce glass tip. Pretty much any feeder rod that's got a decent tip on it. What you don't want is obviously too light a tip, so that it's just bending over when the flow of the water's pulling against the line and the shot. But clearly you want something that's going to be able to indicate a bite. And so a glass tip tends to give you that little bit of sensitivity. Although, you know, you could use carbon tips. It really depends on what gear you've got. But you want some decent line. I mean, 6-pound line is probably a little bit heavy for this river, because I doubt that there's any fish in here over the sort of 4-pound mark. But it just gives you that reassurance that if you need to bully them a little bit, then you can. And you do tend to have to sort of give chub a bit of welly, because particularly when you're fishing close to snags, they will try and snag you up, and they're quite good at actually unhooking themselves once they go into a snag. So don't be frightened of fishing heavy, don't be frightened of fishing big hooks, big baits. I mean, all I'm using today is bread flake, but obviously things like cheese paste and worm and luncheon meat can also produce. But for me, on a river like this, a piece of bread flake, pretty much just bring half a loaf with me, flick in a few bits in a few swims, and then just work my way down and fish those swims for maybe an hour or so, just to see if you have a fish. And really you're just spending a few hours out on the bank, and hopefully you catch. And on this occasion I've had one 3-pound 2-ounce, and I mean, for this type of river, that is a really good chub. But these rivers can throw up some surprises, so you know, it wouldn't be beyond this river to see maybe a 4 or even a 5-pound chub come out. But I think you know, the chances of that today with these conditions is pretty low. But the river looks spot on. I mean, the flow out in the centre is maybe a bit quick. There's probably a bit too much water on. I mean, it might be better to fish this when it's running off slightly. But when you've got trees overhanging in the river like that there, I mean, that just absolutely screams chub. You know, you just can't pass a swim like this, and I've had to break through the brambles to get down here. But as it's shown, it's certainly been worth it. Tried that other swim, but I couldn't get it to hold over the back under the trees how I wanted it to. So it's just started to rain as well, and I thought, well, I've had one, I'll give it neck now. So just goes to show though, guys, for 2 hours on a small river with about half a dozen pieces of bread, and you can have a bit of sport. Great, happy days. See you on the bank sometime.